This is water, this is coffee, and by the end of this video you would have learned how to accurately read a skincare ingredient list. Now if you want to pull an all-nighter, that is you want to stay awake all night and you want to take coffee, you probably take, let's say, 1 or 2 sachets of this to keep you awake all night. If my intention is to stay awake, if I take just a pinch of coffee from this sachet and pour it into that water, even though it might change the taste of the water a bit and give it a bit of brownish color, it is still not enough to keep me awake all night. Stay with me, you get my analogy soon. Now let me relate it to skincare. I saw a few videos last week on if you can use exfoliating actives daily, especially in body washes. Will it damage your skin barrier? Would it, mess up your skin? Is it the right thing to do? Now to answer that question, it all depends on the formula of the body wash or whatever products we are referring to. If it does contain some level of actives, it depends largely on the percentage of the actives that are in these products. Now when it comes to skincare, the percentages of ingredients matter, but not only that, the formulation, the brand ethics, the delivery system, if they use like maybe an encapsulation method, etc. Different things contribute to the formulation of a product. But in this context, let us talk about the percentage of the active ingredients. For exfoliating actives like AHAs and BHAs, there are certain percentages that it needs to get to for it to actually give you that exfoliating benefit. For example, if you want to exfoliate with salicylic acid, you should be looking at, let's say, 2%. If you want to exfoliate with AHAs like lactic acid, mandelic acid, glycolic acid, you should look between, let's say, 3 to 7% or up to 10% in some instances. If you want to go for like a chemical peel, then you could probably go up to 15%. Now, although these active ingredients are known as exfoliants, that is not only the benefits that it gives. For example, simple moisturizer contains lactic acid, but not in percentages that is high enough to actually exfoliate the skin. Lactic acid, apart from exfoliation, also provides humectant benefits. Now, glycolic acid, apart from its exfoliating benefits, it could also help with hydration. It could help, products penetrate better, those kinds of things. So, although they are exfoliating actives, they could also provide other benefits apart from exfoliation. So, now that we know that percentages of active ingredients matter, I'm sure we have come across products that do not categorically state how many percent of an active is in the product. For example, this Skin by Zaron body wash that claims to be exfoliating, it does contain glycolic acid, but it did not exactly state what percentage of it is present in the body wash. But I'm going to teach you a hack. Now, under cosmetic regulations, you're supposed to list out your skincare ingredients by highest volume to least volume. In other words, products that are higher in quantity in the product should be listed first, and then lower percentage of ingredients can be listed later on. So typically in products, you see something like aqua, that's water, as the first ingredient because of course it has more volume, and then you see things like preservative, fragrance, etc. as last because they have little volume. Now, to be able to deduce if your product contains an active in the percentage you want it to have, but let's say the product does not state the exact percent, you can use something called the 1% line. What this basically means is every ingredient after this line is either at 1% or lesser. Now, one famous ingredient that is used to know the 1% line is what we call phenoxyl ethanol. Now, phenoxyl ethanol is a preservative. The FDA states that it cannot be more than 1% in a product. So wherever you see phenoxyl ethanol in an ingredient list, just bear in mind that whatever ingredient that comes after phenoxyl ethanol is either 1% or below 1%. Now, other ingredients that you can use to tell the 1% line are these. Now, although lower concentration doesn't necessarily mean it is inactive, for example, ingredients like kojic acid, alpha-butene, even if they are below 1%, they are still quite effective because they are really good pigmenting agents. Or even retinol at a 0.05%, it is quite effective. But for actives like exfoliating actives, if they are below 1%, you might not necessarily get the exfoliating benefit that it promises. Would it help as a humectant in the product? Maybe. Would it help the product penetrate better? Maybe. But it is not enough for it to actually exfoliate your skin. Something like the Skin by Zaron body wash that has glycolic acid after phenoxyl ethanol, you can reasonably deduce that it is way below 1%, and at that stage it might not really give you that exfoliating benefit you're looking for. Same thing with simple moisturizer. A lot of people think that because it has lactic acid, that is the reason why it gives that sort of burning sensation when you apply it, but it might not be so because the lactic acid in it is way below 1%. So even though a pinch of it is in the product and it is stated in the ingredient list, it doesn't mean that it is going to give you the benefit you think it will. So I'm sure you now understand why I had to use the coffee and water analogy. So in conclusion, the name a product is given or the ingredient list at first glance may not be the best way to tell if it contains the actives that you need, or if it contains the active well enough for it to do the intended purpose. So there you have it. I hope I've broken it down in a way that you can understand better. If you have any questions or contributions, let me hear it in the comments. See you on the next one.